Hello and welcome to another video. In the preparation of the hit piece on the Florida Mayhem, you can find the video link in below. Please make sure to check this out. I obviously watch a lot of VODs and went over a lot of matches from the Florida Mayhem to look at some pattern on what they're doing really well and obviously where you can exploit them. And one fight, or basically one map, really caught my eye. This was the Kingsrow defense against the Justice, which I think was really amazing, the execution of the Mayhem. Some people may maybe say that the Justice are not they are not pressuring maybe the Mayhem enough to do a lot of mistakes, but I think they played very well. They played decent, but I want to really just go over this Kingsrow defense a little bit and just kind of really talk about what I think, what they're doing, why they're doing stuff, and I think this was really well executed from the Florida Mayhem, especially considering their playstyle. So let's just jump right into it. And yeah, let's discuss it a little bit. One thing that I get asked frequently is, why are Overwatch League teams starting here on the high ground, especially when they're playing Brawl? And the easiest or fastest answer to this question is just that whenever you start on a high ground, it is obviously true to every map. It doesn't matter if it's Kingsrow or, I don't know, like anything else. When you start on the high ground, especially as a Brawl composition, where you cannot get back to the high ground really easily, looking at Reinhardt, looking at May, at McCree, you always want to start on the high ground to just have more options. Because you don't know what they're playing, they could play a double composition, they could play whatever. Maybe you want to play on the high ground, so you always start on the high ground first, because you always have the option to drop down. But if you want on the low ground or you start there, you never have the option to quickly go up on the high ground again. So that's the major reason why teams are starting on the high ground. So then the Justice obviously swapped to a Brawl composition. The Mayhem scouted this, and of course they're dropping down. I will just speed this up here a little bit. There's just a rotation on the left side, and yeah, the Mayhem going up again. And this is what they do what they do a lot. It's really typical to their Brawl style. They love to kind of split them up in two groups, like the group of the Reinhardt, May, and Lucio, and a group from the McCree, Baptiste, and D.Va. I don't want to go too much into what are the pros and cons of this. Basically, what this tells us is that the Mayhem love to play around the McCree, basically love to play a little bit slow. They love to play around the damage output of the McCree, and that's why they support him and give him opportunities to take angles. We see, if you think about it, how defensive they are playing here, so there will not be any aggression from the Reinhardt. It's all about the McCree poking and taking angles and etc. So that's the main focus from the Mayhem right here. And obviously, yeah, the D.Va will support this. Now they are dropping down. They're obviously Justice are forcing the point. And there we have it, basically, this two angles here set up from the Mayhem. I'm not a big fan of them actually dropping down that early. I would like it a little bit more if they would just push the high ground here and have maybe a May up here, have a Lucio up here. Lucio can then deal with the other Lucio, and May can just look for some freezes or some right clicks here, and then the Reinhardt can touch, or maybe even the D.Va for some seconds. I think this is a little bit too fast on how they drop, especially that they have not. They never got a big advantage so far. That they want to push. You see also how OGE plays really slow. There is not really an idea of, okay, we are pushing down here immediately. No, it's just basically they have to contest, and I think the D.Va could have done this better. But yeah, they get a nice pick. They get obviously a pick, which is great. It's basically what I talked about, playing around the PQP, giving him a lot of opportunities. Now they saw the Sigma alone. They made a decision of, hey, let's run them. And reversed this then and said, okay, we can just push the others instead. And obviously now with the two picks here, all the other things is just clean up. And so far, this is nothing special. This is just Mayhem, obviously, yeah, getting a nice pick and then pushing afterward, pushing the advantage. Nothing too crazy to talk about. But especially the last fight and the follow-up fights are really nice. So what we see here now basically is the Justice pushing up on the high ground. They want to take this high ground. What is really nice is Yaki. He loved to use the May wall exactly in this way, because in this way you see how the pillars are positioned. 3 pillars here, and it's really hard for the Justice to destroy this, because even if they destroy one pillar, there's another one afterwards. So it's kind of a this undestroyable May wall. You cannot destroy like all 5 pillars. It takes so much time, and this time the Mayhem will get away anyways. And the great thing here, especially, you know, we're looking at the angles, is now they have the angle from the hotel side. BQB can also like already rotate away, and then it also has this angle. And like this position is like perfect for the Mayhem to just play slow, spam them out, and yeah, playing for their style basically. They have Justice, they cannot really push up here, or they have like a way that they can prevent themselves to pushing up. They have like these angles here, and this is literally like how the Mayhem wants to play. I also don't really want to talk about too much of what the Justice could have done. I went over this in the in the hit piece from the Florida Mayhem, where I talked about how you can exploit this. And yeah, now obviously the Mayhem are just like pushing the advantage. They're using the window, using the angles for the in a way that they get more out of it, trying to kind of force a fight afterwards, because they know, okay, they may just use the May wall, so obviously there cannot be a wall used here. So yeah, obviously if the fight happens in this area, maybe even if Yaki would have gotten a May wall up here, it would be perfect, because with this one angle, with the angle from here, and with the lamp, also not the lamp, the window, so it means double healing from this side, there's definitely a favorable engagement for the Mayhem. And if they don't get a kill, they get at least like, I don't know, the lamp out or something like this, or like, you know, a favorable cooldown trade, and then they can just decide, okay, do we want to push the advantage, or do we just want to keep playing slow? Yeah, now actually like Gargle makes a little bit of a mistake here, gets stunned and then frozen on the point, which forces the Mayhem to use the lamp. Obviously something they don't really want to, and they even have to go down and peel. BQB meanwhile on the big off angle here gets High Noon and kills the Hanzo from behind. Again, where we can see about how Mayhem just wants to play around this character. They want to play slow, they want to play around the McCree, they want to play as slow as possible. And only if we really land is in a position, you know, like now they have the Justice, they're in a position where they have where the Mayhem has an advantage, like from angle wise, just from positioning. Like these two angles, it's really hard for the Reinhardt basically to block like all of those angles. Like he can, you know, maybe block this here, but it's hard for him to like block this side and this side. So all of these angles give them a position advantage, and of course then with the High Noon and with the pick, they have an even bigger advantage. They also used like cooldowns, like we're talking about the May wall here from both sides. So this is obviously a moment where the Mayhem just wants to push. But the trigger is basically being BKB being ready in their position. And obviously, because he is in a position, being able to force out cooldowns and now have a favorable engagement to them. Play a little bit slow here still. Like I would have suggested the Mayhem that they go push up way more, especially because they Justice, they use the May wall themselves, so there's not really much like they should be scared about. I know that Garga is obviously not in the fight, but I think yeah, I would have pushed a little bit more, but it's fine. Obviously OG with Big Shadow and the May wall, May ult to clean it up. I guess it was just not expected that yeah, they got like that OG gets such a Big Shadow. So it was more like, you know, the fight plan was Shadow May ult, or like we win this fight with May ult. So even though hindsight, it's so easy to say, hey, this was just too much, it's not necessary. In the actual fight, how you fight plan in an Overwatch League team or in a competitive team, basically, these things will happen at some point. So then Justice make the rotation again. Now actually we see the May wall usage from Yaki here in this case. He's a little bit late on the actual May wall, so it isn't not really perfect. Like he wants to do it a little bit more to the right, because in this way they only have to destroy like this one pillar. So can I go up here? Like, I mean, you can see it maybe a little bit, like also here in the second when they destroy it. Like they only have to destroy this one pillar, and they can actually like squish themselves through. But imagine if Yaki would have made the May wall a little bit more to the right, and they have to destroy all of these pillars, and obviously this would be devastating. And meanwhile, if we can take a look at the Mayhem's position, a little bit late here on the rotation from BQB and Ganamjin. I guess they expected here the fight would happen at this moment, so they had no time to make the rotation yet. But obviously with dropping down, like with Mayhem dropping down, they will now also take the rotation. And yeah, Mayhem just kind of, you know, say, okay, you take this space, we take everything else. And basically as they swapped sides and immediately kind of I mean, obviously this is a practice rotation from the Mayhem. They immediately go up here, take back the high ground on this side, pressuring with the window and the BKB on the left side. D.Va is touching, so this is like perfectly coordinated. They also force out. That's exactly, by the way, what this flank here wants to do. This flank is not really designed to kill somebody. It is more likely to force out cooldowns, and then these people here can keep pushing up, and obviously in the mid fight, then the BKB is the one that kills stuff, or like hopefully gets a bigger advantage. But this opening with the window and also with the BKB obviously on an angle will always kind of force the Justice to respond with a May wall, with a lamp, or with anything else, and then the actual brawl can happen where the Mayhem has an advantage. Sorry, I'm talking about the Justice have to respond. They respond with the Dragon and the May wall. Meanwhile, the Mayhem made like all this big rotation here on the high ground. I think they miss a little bit that the Hanzo and the Sigma is behind. I think if they would seen this, we would have just like rotated on them. Like the May, the Lucio, and the Reinhardt, they should be able to kill them, especially with the D.Va support. This should be like really well. And I would even sacrifice the Baptiste here. Killing this two and sacrificing our Baptiste is alright, I think, in this moment. But yeah, I think they were just not aware of this. That's why obviously the Sigma also and the Hanzo like shoot basically in their back. Gundam Jin makes it out. Yeah, they try to kind of take a fight here, but the Blizzard is really strong. And they get 2 picks from this. And now comes basically, now the magic kind of starts happening. And this is also one of the main things why I wanted to kind of go over this. Because, I mean, all other things we said obviously are still true. But now you can see like how the Mayhem are like so good in this, being this concept of playing slow, playing for angles, and only engaging when we really have an opportunity for it. So everybody's just kind of, you know, playing to survive right now. May gets a mega pet, BKB takes an angle. D.Va wants to contest a little bit, I think a little bit early. And look at this position. We have the May on this high ground. Obviously high ground is really effective against the Brawl team because they cannot really just rush them. We have the McQueen on this other high ground, another angle, and we have the Baptiste on this high ground, also angle. If I just like draw the lines, it is impossible for the Justice team to block like all the incoming damage. So the longer you fight like this, the worse it gets for the Justice. Even though they have like 5 players alive compared to just like 3 of the Mayhem, this is like a really, really bad situation. And normally what is happening, that what happens in this moment for the what Justice should do is they should push one of those angles out. So they would, for example, I don't know, D.Va would fly up here. You know, D.Va would fly up here, or like they would push here, make sure that the May goes out, and then go back to point, something like this. But because of the situation of the fight, and of course that they don't have a D.Va, they have a Sigma, they went for this like more slower approach. They cannot really deal with this. So this is like already here is like it's a terrible situation for them, for the Justice. Even though it looks like really well still from how many players are alive, this is like really winnable. Let's say it like this from the Justice. And obviously we get some kills here. Yaki kind of wins the May 101, but yeah, sorry, was a little bit too fast. Let's try to jump back some seconds. We obviously got the pick here from BKB. On this case, yeah, it's set a Jackie, but I think BKB was here the main damage dealer on the Hanzo, on DK. So he dies too, and they push up. But again, like these are now 2 players pushing up on a May with have like Ice Block ready, with a wall ready and stuff like this, and basically BKB being here ready to shoot. And he can always like avoid all the damage, incoming damage from the Sigma anyways. Like he would just like, you know, he could just like go a little bit more behind. He also has his mini here if he really needs to. And he can still the whole time help Yaki with his damage. So that's why the D.Va is kind of like a D.Va for the Justice would be amazing here. Or like basically somebody who can just sustain his high grounds a little bit better. So yeah. Obviously, like everybody is just focusing on controlling this angle. Like nobody was really shooting at the tanks in this moment, even though they are like contesting the point. It was all about contesting or helping like Yaki to stabilize on this angle. So now that they made this, obviously now also the Reinhardt and the Lucio coming back, get a nice fire strike to kill a Lucio. And yeah, the whole team is basically back together. And from here on out, I mean, it's basically just a stagger festival where everybody just runs to the point. They use May wall and everything. Sorry, May ult and everything. And it just is, and the Mayhem are winning this fight. So I think this was a really nice show off from a Mayhem, how they learn to play slow, using angles for their advantage, knowing what is important. Like even giving like 2 takes away or something like this, making sure that EQB stays alive, making sure that Yaki stays alive, and that they kind of contest this space. And like it's so much more important in this moment, especially in the last fight, that with the slow playstyle of the Mayhem, that they control the space, or like that the map basically, and having a secured angle, then I don't know, like being really strong or being really fast in their engagement timings. Because the longer you shoot from a different angle on the Justice team or any Brawl team, you will have a favorable cooldown trade, which then gives you opportunities to push. Obviously, if your team plays really fast, the only thing they can do if they really want to play faster than this is to just overwhelm one of those sides. But because they were on the high grounds all the time, as we saw, they really used the map really well. This was not possible for the Justice, and that's why they lost in the end. I hope you like this kind of content. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and of course, like give me a comment if you want, to go more over this. I don't know. I guess one attack round, or like over this shorter amount of Overwatch replays or analysis. And yeah, then that's it. I hope you liked it, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.